say that the Czech Republic, and we have been proud of that for 25 years, a NATO member nation, and our NATO membership is one of the key pillars of security and freedom of our citizens, and is ever gaining on importance. We are a staunch ally, standing side by side to our NATO allies, and for NATO to be strong, unified, and able to face any threats. With Mark, with NATO Secretary General, we had an online summit just a while ago of the Coalition of Willing in Paris, which marked which sort of impacted on our programs, but it was an important online meeting, and I should say there is a complete consensus that we need to continue our intensive help to Ukraine in order to be able to defend itself and continue the pressure on Russia and to create conditions for a fair and enduring peace. And in order to achieve peace, and there is also a strong consensus on that, there must be robust security guarantees which would deter Russia from further aggression. The Czech Republic has actively assisted in NATO endeavors, NATO operations. The Czech Armed Forces service members help protect the eastern flank in Lithuania, Latvia, and in Slovakia. And we have a very successful ammunition initiative, which testifies to the fact that even smaller nations can play a strong role and to contribute to European security. And we will continue this initiative, and I'm very proud that during my tenure as the Prime Minister, the Czech Republic changed from sort of a free rider or fair dodger into an ally that is reliable and the one that meets its commitments. We want to continue this avenue, and we will increase our GDP percentage to 3% by 2030, and then 5% by 2035. And the draft national budget, which we will approve soon, we have 2.35% for the next year. Defense investments also reflect strongly in the modernization of our armed forces. We decided on F-35 fighters, artillery systems, infantry fighting vehicles, helicopters, radars, and it was just yesterday that the government endorsed the Leopard 2A 8 tanks, and our defense investments not only increase our security, but it also strengthens our economy, creating new jobs, and so it profits everybody. And we are able to cover the whole production chain from nitrocellulose up to black powder. So our manufacturers work to the effect to have all the elements of the production chain across Europe, because we need to do away with our dependence on China and other unreliable manufacturers. And NATO strives to expand the production in NATO nations. That is also done by the European Union, and this needs to be continued. As I mentioned, the Czech Ammunition Initiative, I should also say clearly that we will abide our promise that we will deliver to Ukraine at least the same quantity of ammunition pieces or munitions. Last year it was 1.5 million, and this year we have been able to deliver 1.1 million rounds. And it's clear that sufficient firepower in artillery continues to be one of the key elements of defense against the Russian aggression. We also continue the training of Ukrainian forces, and we are about to start the training of the Ukrainian F-16 pilots on our subsonic aircraft and simulators. This is just very shortly, since we have this time pressure. I would like to thank Mark, to NATO Secretary General, for his visit and for very forthcoming and constructive dialogue we have had. Thank you very much.
Dear Petr, it's a pleasure to see you again, and now in Prague today. Czechia is a staunch and a reliable ally. You make very important contributions to NATO's deterrence and defense. You have a strong defense industry, and this is crucial. I gave a speech just this morning on how vital it is that we step up our production efforts, and Czechia is playing an important role here. You contribute to NATO's forward land forces. You have participated in NATO's policing mission, air policing mission. And the list of your contributions goes on. But the bottom line is that Czechia knows what it means to stand by your allies. And your NATO allies stand with you. Our unity is essential and always has been. And given the threats we face, it is as important today as ever. When allied leaders met for the NATO summit in The Hague, they came together around the threats that we face, including from Russia, which we all know is not only a challenge today, but for the long term. So we need to be strong, and that requires investment, which is why we all agreed on a new defense investment plan. To invest 5% of GDP annually in defense, on core requirements to 3.5%, and then on defense and security-related spending 1.5% by 2035. Ensuring that we meet our individual and our collective obligations to our shared security. Czechia is already spending more than 2%, and I was so happy to hear that you now really have that credible path, that each year defense spending will increase to reach the 3% in 2030 and then beyond. And I'm grateful really for your work and your leadership here. And all allies, of course, need to do their part. Czechia is also a staunch supporter of Ukraine. Since Russia launched its full-scale invasion in 2022, you played a significant role in providing military aid to Ukraine. The Czech-led ammunition initiative has been a resounding success. I want to thank you for that. As you said, in 2024 alone, 1.5 million shells were delivered thanks to your leadership. And this is absolutely supporting NATO's effort to keep Ukraine as strong as possible in the fight now and tomorrow, hopefully leading, of course, to a peace deal. What's more, Czech personnel contribute to NATO's mission to provide security assistance and training for Ukraine, and SETU, that's our command, our joint command in Wiesbaden. And I welcome your offer to contribute to support NSETU's logistical efforts in Eastern Europe. And you're also working with Ukraine to train their pilots. So all of this is making a real difference for Ukraine's security and therefore for our collective security. Of course, we're all pushing for an end to Russia's war against Ukraine and a just and lasting peace. And indeed, we just participated in a video conference with European and Canadian colleagues. And this is all against the fact, because they started as President Trump breaking the deadlock with Putin, engaging with him, and therefore now for us to design the security guarantees as Europeans and Canada with the US to make sure that when talks start, the Ukrainian president knows that he has the full backing of the US, of Canada, the Europeans, all of us in NATO, but also countries outside NATO. And of course, knowing that the prime foundation for all of this will be the Ukraine's armed forces itself. So you will have these Ukrainian armed forces as strong as possible, and on top of that, these security guarantees. And finally, mid-July, the American president decided to again have a massive flow of non-lethal and lethal weapons into Ukraine, paid for by NATO allies. So that scheme is now working. Many countries are investing in Ukraine's defense industry. And of course, there are the bilateral projects. But here, you are leading the way again with the Czech ammunition initiative. And again, want to highlight that. Thank you for that. Thank you for your leadership, our personal friendship over the years, and my previous role and this role. We stand together. And I know I can count, NATO can count on Czechia's continued commitment. Thank you so much.
Tak, já moc děkuji obou řečníkům.
Thank you very much. And we have just time for one question. So Czech TV. Czech television. Let me follow on what you said in the morning, that according to you, Russia will be a confronting and destabilization force in Europe. Is that realized by all NATO nations or not?
Yes, the facts are there. Russia is investing 40% of its state budget in defense. And of course, you sometimes here and there have a nice parade. But that's not why they are investing all that money. They are investing it because they want to be successful in Ukraine, and we have to prevent them from being successful. But beyond Ukraine, it will not stop. And we have seen recent announcements and comments by senior military and also intelligence leaders in Europe saying that Russia might be ready by 27, by 29. Some are saying by 2030, 2031, to really, if they would choose so, try to attack NATO territory. And we have to make sure that our deterrence is such that they will never try, knowing that our reaction will be devastating. That is, yes, money, because we need more men and women in uniform, but also, yes, production, because production capacity, and also here, the Czech Republic is very important because of your overall, let's say, history and still very much presence when it comes to defense industrial production. That in itself is also a deterrence factor. But to everybody watching this, please, men and women, citizens of the Czech Republic and all over Europe, Canada and the US, let's not be naive about Russia. We know what Putin tries to do, and the evidence is there in Ukraine as we speak, and it is there. That's a threat for the long term, I'm afraid.
Já moc děkuji, tiskovou konferenci končím.
Thank you very much. That's it. Have a nice day.